neighbors are calling you out to play. Come on, we'll make you feel right at home. Good day, Vail. Good day, Vail. Let's see what lies in store for you. There's so many things to see and do. Summer, winter, spring or fall, you're home in the Rockies as it all. So gear up, get ready to plan your day. The ideas are brewing, you're on your way. The fun is waiting outside your door. Good day, Vail. Good day, Vail.
Hi, and welcome to Good Day Vail, a show that's dedicated to helping you live your best life in the Vail Valley. My name is Cece Zach, and yes, I am a transplant from the Northeast, but I'm also the host of this show. And this show is to help you learn from locals about how to thrive in the mountains. And today's episode is focused on helping our viewers understand what we can do in our community above and beyond snow sports, above and beyond going to the mountain, above and beyond putting skis on our feet. It really is around how to get involved in the community in ways that you just didn't know you didn't know. So whether it's indoor or outdoor activities, or new towns to go and visit or to discuss, or even new ways to find micro communities and something that may be a new passion to you. Our show is dedicated on community activities. And I'm thrilled to have Kim Filler and Bobby LaRue, the co-founders of the Jaunt Media Collective, with us today to share how you become more involved in the community. So stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Good day, Vail. Good day, Vail. Good day, Vail. Good day, Vail.
Hi, and welcome back to Good Day Vail. I am so excited to have Bobby and Kim, the co-founders of Jaunt Media Collective, with us today to talk about community and how we can all be involved in anything we want to, if we know about it. So before we get into the specifics of picking the two of your brain about our community here in this fabulous valley, how did you two end up here, and what makes you stay here?
Yeah, so we have we have individual stories there, but we met about 11 years ago when we had both moved here full time, and the rest is history, as they say. But my family has been coming to Vail since its inception. My grandparents helped Pepe, create the Gostoff. My grandfather was his attorney, and so ever since I was a child, I've been coming and skiing here, and I just always had a draw to want to live here full time, and was able to make that happen after traveling a bit and saying, I'm going to make it work in Vail, and I have, so.
Yeah, so I moved here, I think, approximately 2 weeks after Kim, actually. I was in the city of Boston on a non-compete, and a gentleman I was working with at a part-time job was like, I'm moving to Vail, and I figured I could go for a season. You know, I literally said that I'm going for the winter season. I'm sure a lot of people have said that. I've heard that story in this town.
Bobby, that was me.
Yeah, right? It's like
totally
everyone,
me.
right? And then we met at a community gathering that no longer happens. There used to be ski conditioning at the Vail Cascade. Mm-hmm. And the entire town, we all used to seemingly live in West Vail at that time, would go there. And then there was bingo at the Red Lion that the community would go to. So we met through activities in our community here, and fostered a lot of relationships starting pretty early on in 2011 when we both arrived in Vail. Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. And for our viewers, Bobby and Kim are also married too. I just had to add that. So not only did the community bring them together, but they really brought them together. And a totally different note though, Kim, you had mentioned about your family's history in Vail. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a happy fact that there's a ski run in Vail named after your grandmother, right?
Yeah, Widges Ridge, which
awesome.
is, can't ski it right now just because they've had that part of the mountain closed the start of the season. So we're excited
They opened yesterday.
They opened Widges yesterday?
They opened Game Creek, so
Okay.
Widges might be open.
Widges,
Yep.
yeah. So you get to the top of Chair 3 or the top of Game Creek, and you can find your way over to Widges Ridge. And Widge Ferguson, she's still living here in the valley. She's 97 years old, and she is at Castle Peak down in Eagle. So
and we just did a show at Castle Peak actually with the Vail Valley Art Guild, and we created ornaments. So
love that.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Now let's just jump into it. Jaunt Media Collective. Briefly, tell us what it is.
Yeah, so it is a collective now.
A collective of?
Yeah, well, we have 3 print publications. So our very first was Colorado Yoga and Life, and then Spoken Blossom, which is a Western Colorado publication. And then we launched Covered Bridge last December, almost a little over 1 year ago, for the Vail Valley. And this all started, my background is in journalism, and I was a freelancer here in the Valley for almost a decade. I still freelance here and there, and Bobby has a sales and marketing background, and we just got talking, and kind of long story there, with Yoga and Life, someone approached us with an opportunity to purchase the Colorado license to Yoga and Life, and we've since acquired the national. So we manage a license in Minnesota and New York. So there's print publications, and then we have online, which is national. And then we, Spoke and Blossom is niche and regional, and we've really seen more success just in the industry of print magazines with niche and or regional versus what was, Condé Nast and all the larger companies with national publications on newsstands. So this is a different model, and we're seeing a lot of positive reception around it. And we named Jaunt. Jaunt is all about enjoying the journey, going on a jaunt, a journey for pleasure. So the collective came together because we work with a lot of creatives. We work with great designers, amazing writers, photographers, as well as salespeople that come in, and we wanted to be able to have a house, not only for our publications, but for these creatives to work with us.
Yeah, we saw Kim freelance for a decade. And, there is a capacity issue with that sometimes, but then there's also they want to have their passion projects. They want to have a place that will constantly feed them work and have work available. So that's the idea of the collective too, is we can help not only our partners through advertising and their businesses, but we can actually help these creatives find an outlet to get published, build a portfolio, help our clients too at the same time.
Well, and I think that's how we got started in this conversation, is because you were building your own community for the community. So tell me a little bit about what your philosophy is on the Vail community here.
Well, we love being a part of this community, and we have such a great, we like to call it, a current that flows through, and Covered Bridge was really a nod to that and bridging the community, because we've seen our friends, like Bobby was saying, a lot of us were in Westvale, and at least when we moved here, those were our first friends, but we've seen people continue to move down Valley and spread out.
All the way to Gypsum.
All the way to Gypsum, yeah, and it's wonderful that we can have, a widespread community, because there's so much throughout it that people can take advantage of and really enjoy. And so that really is the philosophy of, we want to make it work here, and we see hardworking locals that do the same, because it's, as we all know, it's wonderful to be here, and it's worth it.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of, tying into a little bit of our show up type thing, right? That's number one for us, is show up. And it doesn't always have to be, our level of involvement has increased since we started showing up. Originally we would just show up to events and be someone standing in the back and watch and observe these great people putting on the events. And that to me is the biggest part of our community, is because it's such a spread out community now, you have to show up to these little events. You have to go check out new businesses when they open all the way down in Gypsum. I think I saw an apothecary just opened in Gypsum, and I was like, oh wow, that's neat. I want to make sure I check it out the next time I'm there, to keep fostering that type of community as well. And a lot of our community is also based through, adventuring. But there's so much more to do in this valley besides adventuring. But that is how we generally meet a lot of people. But again, you see a new business, you see a new restaurant pop up, it is worth the drive. Because it is a local that, generally put that new restaurant or that new establishment in, and they did it for a reason. They're hopefully, they found like us, something missing in the community that they wanted more of. And then they're going to give it back to the community. So
we'll get into the business. What I want to just pick up on, you use the word adventuring. And one of the things our viewers, may sometimes be challenged with is they either have guests or themselves aren't necessarily snow sports people. They're not skiing, they're not skinning. So what can they do, and how can they build their own community here? And what comes to my mind is that the two of you have actually inherited a nice little micro community around trail running, correct?
Yeah, we lead an intervals group every Tuesday morning.
In fact, I think we have a few photos of the group intervals. Yeah,
it's year round, so that's us in the winter with micro spikes running up Vail Mountain. So it's a free gathering, and we meet at 7 a.m. at the Covered Bridge and make our way to the mountain, and we do it in the summer as well. And then spring and fall, we're often over at Berry Creek in Edwards. And it's just been an amazing way to, have a consistent opportunity for locals and visitors who join us sometimes, second homeowners. We have people that really look forward to joining us when they're here. And it's that idea that we're here, we're consistent. You can show up as you are and make your way up the mountain. You can go your own pace because we do come back together after every interval. So we have really high-end elite athletes that join us, and we also have people recovering from injury, or they might be pregnant, or whatever it may be, and we're able to go out there together, which is really special.
So Bobby, you and I had spoken too that there's quite a few of these little micro groups and other types of activities. Can you help us think of a few for our viewers?
Yeah, I definitely can, and I think that you're coming visiting, and I think of this woman Casey who was actually at the class this morning who does not live here, and she found the group, and now she heavily involved with us as a community. She's inviting us over for dinner. We're getting to know her family. She participated in a friend's wedding recently. So that to me is a special part of it, because it is, yes, these niche groups, but I do feel like that intimidation factor might be there at first, and it's not intimidating. I promise you, all of you people, they're very welcoming, our local crowd here that hosts these groups. Ours being the interval group is really micro, right? Sometimes it's 3 people, sometimes it's 20. But then there's groups in the summertime. It's the Vail Mountain Bike Association here. You can follow them. They always have posts on their website about gatherings and meetups. There's another mountain bike crew, what's the name? Vail Valley Run Club is another one where you can find interesting events that before you come, right? And
yeah, exactly.
Easily reach out to someone that's posting on that website. Where do we meet? And they're all very, very, very generous with their time. They're going to help you and introduce you to a new microcosm in this macrocosm that is Vail, Colorado.
So Bobby, can I ask you to hold that thought, because we're going to take a quick station break, but I really want you to educate our viewers on the plethora of different things that they can do to learn something they don't know and join in and become part of that community. So I'm Cece Zach with Good Day Vail. Stick with us, and we'll be right back with Bobby and Kim to talk about our community in the Vail Valley.
Good day, Vail. Good day, Vail. Good day, Vail. Good day, Vail.
Welcome back to Good Day Vail. I'm Cece Zach, and I'm here with Kim Fuller and Bobby Heureux of Jaunt Media Collective. When we broke for a quick station break, we were just jumping into some of those micro groups that we would love to tell our viewers about. So, Bobby, I know you had this way of helping educate our viewers. Please share.
So, I do appreciate social media for this specific thing. I'm not a big social media person, but there is great benefits to having a Facebook account when you come to Vail. Because a simple, quick search of Vail, whatever activity you want to do after that, Vail Arts, Vail Ski, Vail Run, Vail whatever it is, will start to pull up anything that was hashtagged or that relates to that. So you can start to find some of your groups that way before you come. And
that's fabulous. Can I just interrupt for a second? Because if the viewers are anything like me, I've never used Facebook in that way, because I came from New York City, so everything had a website. So this is fabulous information for, I think, our viewers to recognize that. Go do exactly what you said with the searches, but do people respond?
Yeah, most of our groups, especially if they have a group page, have an admin. So someone is monitoring that page, and even if it's a post like maybe back in June you saw something that you enjoyed and you're here for the following year coming up and you're planning your trip, you could start to reach out about that specific thing that happened that year to the admin, and they'll get back to you. And everyone's busy, so if they don't get back to you right away, know that they will, and know that you're really not bothering them. That's why they actually created that group, for interaction for people like us, and then also you're coming from New York City. You've never been here before.
So what type of activities do you think have these Facebook groups and these micro groups that...
Certain brands specifically in our valley, we talked about a lot of small businesses here. So a lot of the small businesses host their own individual events. So you would have to follow their particular page. Like I think of the arts, for instance. There's Quetzal, formerly Vail Apparel over in Eagle Vale. She hosts a bunch of different things, from painting hats and community involvement. So you could bring the whole family. The people that aren't skiing might want to split off and do that. Down the road in Minturn, there's a studio called Backcountry Studios. He makes glassware, but he blows glass. You can do a studio tour with him. Check out his whole studio.
Wow.
And I'm sure even if you got really interested, you could probably even do a demo with Ben Belgrad over there and learn how to blow some glass. So things like that you'll never necessarily hear about unless you start looking. So those two, it's Backcountry Studio, Quetzal, you could follow them online. Eagle Arts down in Eagle does all sorts of community events. They have an art walk once a month that you can check out there, and you just follow their webpage or their social media page. Another one is Alpine Arts. She always has something going on over there. And yeah, those are more paid for involvements, but they're still there, and there's something you wouldn't necessarily see in the local paper or on an advertisement somewhere.
So what about jumping gears now, going into activities, because that is a term that you used before. Are there any other types of sports activities, hiking? I know you're trail running.
Yeah, I mean, I think
snowshoeing.
There are. I know Walking Mountains Science Center hosts a lot of guided hikes in the winter and the summer, snowshoeing. The Vail Rec District is just increasingly impressive with what they offer. So obviously, races, and they're sort of known for that. They have winter uphill races. You can do skimo or micro spikes. So if you're a runner, be good to look into that. But then also open gym nights for things like volleyball.
Really?
Yeah, and they do leagues. But if you're not here full time, or we actually were in the volleyball league this year and realized it was a bit over our head. Very, very competitive. In the winter,
two of you are elite athletes in yourself, and you're saying that volleyball is over your head.
Well, Bobby had never played, so I think that.
I mean, these were like pro volleyball players.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't realize. They seemed like it,
pro.
You never realized that lived in the valley. But there's pickleball tournaments. There's pickleball involvement. There's so many other opportunities, like Kim said, for sports that you wouldn't even think of. And then you go, and the gym's packed. You're like, oh, other people have this interest in the valley.
And that's why the open gyms are nice, because it's more all levels. And in the summer, I think you can find the right fit. And I think that the Vail Rec District does a really good job about telling us what that is.
So help me understand the Vail Rec District, because I live in Avon. So I know a little bit about the Avon Rec District just because of the rec center. So maybe help our viewers understand the difference between the different town recs.
So you mentioned something that I did look up this morning. I was like, how many of our towns have a rec center? We have one in Avon, we have one in Edwards, we have one in Eagle, we have one in Gypsum. So the rec centers are a great resource. I mean, we were visiting Minnesota recently where there wasn't this much access, and they had a Y. Well, our Avon Rec Center is just as nice as most Ys you'll ever go to, with pools and slides and all that. But there's other opportunities besides, like the VRD is not necessarily a rec center itself, as much as they're a recreation department. So they put on races from Eagle all the way to Eastvale. They run the mountain bike series, some of the races down in Eagle. The snowshoe series is up here on Beaver Creek. So that one's pretty spread out as far as the valley goes, and I don't think it's like a Avon Rec District puts on anything that competes with Vail Rec District. I think they kind of cohort on things, and Avon has its summer like triathlete series over here at the lake, which a lot of people don't know about. A lot of people who come into town are triathletes. Well, I think once a week in the summer they have open swim, and then they have like a specific kind of mini tri over there at the same time. So many opportunities, but the Vail Rec District itself is more event-based than like a location-specific event.
So fascinating, because I had known about the snowshoe races, but I'm realizing that you could really plan your whole weekend around something other than at the mountains, per se, right? Going up a lift or putting skis on. There really is an opportunity to surround with activities that aren't chairlift related or ski related.
Yeah, the snowshoe series that Beaver Creek put on, and they do for a while, I think it's 3 races a year, so definitely worth looking into. And one of them you actually have to ride a lift up, so if there's a fear there, you can just skip that race. But there's other races that start just at the base. And Vail Rec District also has the Shamrock Shuffle, which is right around St. Patrick's Day. And then their winter race
the ugly
series.
Sweater one, the turkey trot, and then there's a couple turkey trots throughout the valley. They're all different names, but you can participate on those at any time.
And they
during
also
Thanksgiving.
They manage a lot of it, the Dobson Arena, so the ice skating. And when the Vail Yeti is in town, which is our semi-pro hockey team, most Friday and Saturday nights.
We have a semi-pro hockey team?
The Vail Yeti, yes.
I had no idea.
And the schedule's in this issue of Covered Bridge here, where you can kind of look in and say, if they're in town, it's Friday, Saturday, and it's packed, and it's super fun to bring the whole family.
Oh, I'm sure it's a blast.
It's great.
That's a ton of fun.
See, and I've been here on and off for 4 years, and I didn't know that we had our own hockey team. And this is just so wonderful that you're sharing that. And you said it's in Covered Bridge, but I guess the point, in our conversation is that through social media, we just need to continue to look for all these activities, because you could get tired just planning for the activities, not even going to them. So
Yeah, and you meet people when you go to these activities who are local, who are visiting, and that in itself is a gateway to other opportunities. People have chatted with us at races, and then they end up at the intervals group. It's just, there's the Vail Young, what is it, the full name? Vail Valley Young Professional, Young Professional Association. You go there and you meet business owners and young entrepreneurs, not so young entrepreneurs, and just hardworking individuals in this valley, and they will be able to tell you what they're involved in. And it's as simple as, hey, I'd love to join next time. Do you want to exchange phone numbers? So.
And you just made me realize that I read in the paper is that there is a women's business association too, Vail Women's Business Association.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't attended one of their events, but they've been on my radar, and I think during COVID, just kind of stopped having events, and now they're probably putting them back on. So something that, I'm definitely interested in, and if there was someone I ran into and they were a part of it, that would be my next move, is say, well, when's the next event? Can you get me connected? So as much as we have so many tools that are great to use, it just comes back to that great old in real life connection and networking, or just being out there and talking to people that can get you more involved in this community.
Well, and that's how I met the two of you. A friend of mine is actually a part of the intervals group when she's here from New York City. And so, it's so great because you're going to be my go-to now to try and learn more and more about the Valley. But if there was one tip you could leave someone like myself, I've been here for a couple years on and off, I'm here full time now, and I'm just trying to find my community. Is there any tip that you have? I know it's a very broad question.
It really is, but I go back to show up. You're New York City, I'm Boston, Massachusetts, right? It's a little harder and seemingly to break in there, but there's more opportunity also seemingly. Here you just have to really show up, and the welcome is a little bit different.
Oh, it's so much different than New York.
Just a little bit different,
and Boston.
Right? And everyone is here trying to do the same thing. So I do think just showing up to an event that strikes your interest. And then sometimes, like, you're scared of an event, maybe go to that one. Right? That one that strikes a little bit of like, I don't know, you feel it on the inside. Well, that's the event maybe you should show up to, because someone's going to welcome you into a group and you're going to experience something new. I mean, I started doing a bunch of new, I go back to sports, right? But there's other activities in the Valley that you can do besides that. But like downriver paddleboarding, I started in my late 30s. Skiing, I started in my early 30s. Like, so there's opportunity with people that know how to do it that will kind of guide you into it. So I think that is my biggest thing, is just show up. Go to an event, smile, be yourself, introduce yourself to people, and you will make a friend at almost every event you go to.
I love that.
And I would just say, whether you are new to the Valley, or maybe you've been here a while, or you're visiting, similar, but just don't be shy to create conversation with locals. So that if you walk into Two Arrows and you've got the great baristas behind the bar.
All right, where's 2 Arrows?
2 Arrows is in Vail Village.
Okay.
And they're locals. They're out there skiing, mountain biking, going to yoga, walking around. They know everyone. They know what to do, and have a conversation with them. That's not just, I'll have an Americano. They might be busy, but also appreciate being seen as locals and appreciate the support of, hey, we want to be involved in your community, we want to support small business, we want to show up to events that, get us really involved authentically, not just skimming the surface as a vacationer. And same with people who live here, just getting more and more involved.
Well, I can't thank you enough for your knowledge. I can't speak this morning. Local knowledge, it's just been fantastic, and I will be calling on you just for my own edification and information. Thank you for sticking with us. I'm Cece Zach with Good Day Vail. And as Bobby said, please show up and support our communities, because you will have more fun and thrive in the mountains. Have a great day.
Good day.